The dopamine is the neurotransmitter. It is very important for the excitation of the nerve, from the presynaptic nerve to the postsynaptic nerve. So where is the dopaminergic neuron? That neuron which that release the dopamine is known as the dopaminergic neuron. So the dopaminergic neuron are present in the brain only, not the peripheral part of the nervous system, but the central nervous system, but especially the brain. So the dopamine, why release the dopamine and how to reset that dopamine for release the normal level of the dopamine. So because the dopamine decrease will lead to cause cognitive impairment, memory loss, even the synaptogenesis problem, and that is basically the loss of memory and the disorder of your brain like Alzheimer disease and lot of the brain disease and brain disorder due to the dopamine level drop. So how to reset that dopamine for normal level to release and the function properly. So in this way, the basically is the dopamine release when so the cognitive power will increase in your brain. On the other hand, the feeling of the reward, because wherever you will work too much in the gym or anything or like exercise, after this when you will relax, the dopamine will release. That relaxation due to the dopamine release as a reward, and in this way you want to get again that relaxation like orgasm and the sex, masturbation and a lot more, basically video games, and that all things basically will lead to spike the dopamine. When the our spiking of the dopamine will basically the dopamine is the neurotransmitter, when bind with the postsynaptic neuron, in this way the receptor resistance will occur due to the overstimulation of the dopamine. Dopamine also released from the nicotine and on the other hand the amphetamine, which that is drug, and cocaine and cannabinoid chemicals like marijuana. On the other hand, a lot more drugs which that stimulate the dopamine increase. Whenever you will arise the dopamine, again when you will get that reward as a pleasure, because the dopamine will give the happiness, cool and calm, even relax and get the pleasure like in the form of orgasm. So in this way the dopamine will arise, so the again that level of the dopamine will not occur due to the, that is why the drug addiction, because you want to previous experience, but in the case of the dopamine receptor damage and the overstimulation of the dopamine receptor will lead to dopamine resistance. In this way the dopamine will not bind easily, will not get that reward which that is previous experience. But in this case, wherever you will again stimulate that, so in this way you require too much dose for stimulation of the previous excitation of the nerves due to the dopamine release. But you will not get that approach. In this way you will again and again increase the dose of drug, increase the anything which that is basically create the dopamine stimulation like the reward. In this way you will not get the reward properly, and in this way you will basically forced to add more drugs or more other things, more substance for increase and spike the dopamine. In this way whenever this dose will not spike increase, when you will not increase the dose, frustration, anxiety, stress, depression and a lot more things like sadness will occur. And in this way you should basically again spike the dopamine. That is important thing you should need to understand. In this way basically the dopamine level should be reset. So it is important things for normal cognitive function, normal physiology of the nervous system and normal motivation, because the loss of the dopamine will lead to cause lack of motivation and other anxiety and depression. So in this way basically the dopamine level reset due to the dopamine fasting. So the dopamine fasting mean you should quit the smoking, drug, anything for long time, like 3 days or 2 days, and in this way you should increase the days and time of the quitting that things which that is stimulating the dopamine. That is known as the dopamine fasting. In this way your dopamine level will be dropped in your in the synapse, while the dopamine receptor will prepare for the again stimulation of the excitation and get the more pleasure. So that is why the dopamine fasting is very important. In this way, basically you can create the basically stress-free environment, but you should fasting like don't watch any funny movie or anything which that is continuously stimulating the dopamine. For example, you should basically 1 hour or 2 hour is enough on the front of your mobile, but long term which that will lead to basically disturb the dopamine neurotransmitter. In this way, basically you should need to understand about that important things is that you should keep healthy diet, caloric restriction and the ketogenic diet. On the other hand, you can think about that the exercise is too much important for the normal and reset the dopamine level. And in this way, basically you whenever you will get the healthy lifestyle, for example the quit smoking and the drug addiction quit and the nicotine addiction and other things, whenever you will quit, so the dopamine reset will be possible. So I hope you make sense about that. If you like my video, please make sure to subscribe, like and share. See you in the next video for this. Bye. Allah Hafiz.